Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. The Grangemouth refinery is closing. It's going to be repurposed. There will still be there, but many jobs, highly skilled, highly paid jobs, will have gone. The minister responsible, Mairi McAllan, has said nothing. She has been notable from her absence of comment. Silence, radio silence, off the grid, incommunicado, call it what you will. She's not addressing the issue. It seems almost as though she's afraid to, or better still, ashamed to. Because actually Grangemouth did make a profit. And this is very weird, that a company can make a profit in such a site and then close it down. It makes you wonder if there's ulterior motives. Perhaps it's the stance that the SNP are taking on oil and gas that's maybe driven that decision. In which case, that's real people losing their jobs, plunging themselves and their families into poverty. There will be people losing their homes. There will be people having family breakups, all because of decisions made by the SNP government, and the minister is too craven to address these issues. Why won't Mairi McAllan come forward and say what's going on? Who knows? We'll take a look at this. We'll see why she is ashamed to address a problem, because she's too busy doing things with Humza Yousaf, presumably. Here goes. Now, of course, as Mairi McAllan is carrying, the SNP messiah within her, allegedly, and she's busy flying off all around the world, pretending that she's not travelling with her boss, going in on different planes, leaving on different planes, although staying in the same hotel. And then what's now 5 months after that little trip to Dubai, she's 5 months pregnant. One can only wonder what's going on. But that is why, of course, she does not care one iota about the people, about the normies, us, the plebs. She's only concerned with the elite bubble in which she finds herself. So why should she care if hundreds of people lose their job, if thousands of people are affected? Doesn't really matter to her, does it? The wider economy, yeah, but I don't live there, so I don't care. That's the attitude, isn't it? These elitists sitting there in their ivory towers while basically Rome burns around them. Mairi McAllan blasted for ignoring Grangemouth workers as hundreds face losing their jobs. And of course it isn't just the hundreds in there. It's their families. It's the wider economy, money they would have spent in shops and pubs and bars and restaurants and cinemas and things. That's money not going into the local economy. That will have a kick-down effect. People in those places will lose their jobs. This is a big employer. And it's a devastating blow. And one that could easily have been avoided had anyone bothered to do their job. But Mairi McAllan doesn't care. Mairi McAllan is someone who sits there and thinks, me. The little Saturday girl, she's got herself up the duff. Like I say, she's carrying the Messiah, perhaps. And she thinks that she's above all this. Well, Mairi, you're not. And come the next election, when you're booted out, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, what can I possibly do as a job? Because, let's face it, I'm virtually unemployable. Here I am, a single mother, which you will be by that point when the baby comes out and it's maybe not exactly what your husband was thinking it was going to be. So you could be a single mother in Scotland, unemployed, because who the hell would? And then you'll realise the plight and the creating and the awfulness that you've created in government. Unite claimed it had minimal contact with the SNP ministers since Petro-Ineos announced it was pulling the plug on Scotland's last oil refinery. Now, I would also point out that an oil refinery should be part of national infrastructure. No country that deals with oil should not have a way of refining it, even for security reasons. Who knows? Scotland's Economic Secretary has been blasted for failing to meet with workers who could lose their jobs if the country's last remaining oil refinery is closed. Mairi McAllan was handed responsibility by Humza Yousaf for energy, net zero and the economy as part of a beefed up cabinet position in early February. After the lying fraudster Matheson resigned from health, they took the part-timer, Neil Gray, and they gave him health. So he stepped up from a little part-time paper-pushing role to completely, oversee a department he's got no chance at all of dealing with. And his job was so small and slight that they just handed it off to the Saturday girl, who obviously has her own job as well, which obviously must only be part-time. So now she's doing 2 part-time jobs. Why is she being built up? Well, one can only presume because of the contents on her belly. Hail Mary, blessed of Eve, full of grace. Mairi McAllan was handed this responsibility, but the trade union Unite, one of 2 representing workers at Grangemouth Industrial Complex, said it had been disappointed by the lack of engagement from the minister and her predecessor, Neil Gray. Neither of them care. Site owners Petroineos announced last year it plans to close its oil refinery by 2025, as it would soon be unable to compete effectively with overseas rivals. It's still making a profit, though. A final closure date has yet to be announced by the corporate giant, and Unite is keen to build political and public support to keep the refinery open and protect its 500 staff. Now, I would suggest this is a perfect example of where the government should set up a private company. Invest the money, buy the site, keep it open. Now you're going to say, at great public expense. Not at great public expense. Because here's the thing. It actually is turning a bit of a profit. Not much of one, granted, but enough. It turns a profit. And while it's keeping people employed and getting their tax base coming in, that's better for the country. Once it closes and you lose all those people, that's not taxes coming in. That's benefits going out. What's the net cost there? A lot more than buying the damn thing and keeping it ticking over. Even if you're only keeping the lights on. Keep it ticking. Keep it working. National security. Is it just me? Who knows? A final closure date has still to be announced by the corporate giant, and Unite is keen to build to protect the staff. Derek Thompson, the union's Scottish secretary, said the reality is that Unite has had minimal direct engagement with the Scottish government over the urgent situation facing the Petroineos oil refinery at Grangemouth. Why are the government not getting involved? I'll tell you why. The government don't care. They have other fish to fry. The time is of the essence, he said, regarding the future of the 500 highly skilled, highly paid, highly taxed jobs at the refinery. It's staggering that the Cabinet Secretary has not found the time to visit the complex and have a face-to-face meeting with the workforce because she's too embarrassed. She knows she goes there. This is actually, just as a slight, because it's not just Mairi McAllan at this particular one. This is all of them now. They've all got to the point they daren't go out in public. They know they're all victims. They're all going to be victimised. They're all going to be pointed at, yelled at, shouted at. Everyone is losing the support for the SNP. They're seen now as the enemy. They're seen as the enemy. And that's why they don't want to engage with normal people. They don't want to go out into the communities. They don't want to be seen. You see the attacks, the personal attacks, and the sort of the semi-physical attacks on Humza Yousaf. People are fed up. They've found them out. The SNP are finished. And you know they're finished because where they could have walked out and been seen and hailed, oh, look, it's the Messiah, it's the Saviours, they've come to save us. Now it's hiding behind people, hiding behind police, hiding behind screens. They won't go out. They refuse to engage. They're scared. They're absolutely terrified. Anyway, Thompson added, we'd encourage Mairi McAllan to meet with the workers on site along with Unite to explain how the Scottish Government is attempting to protect jobs. They're not. They're absolutely not. They don't care. Anyway, he said, so far there is not one concrete proposal on the table, despite the Grangemouth complex being the most strategically important work site in the whole of Scotland. It simply isn't good enough. Petroineos, co-owned by multi-billionaire tax exile and Man United shareholder Jim Ratcliffe, plans to turn the refinery into an import depot. So it will still be there. They'll still have jobs, but maybe only 50 jobs, and they're basically warehousing, lower skilled jobs. A lot of money gone. Closure, and here we go, this is what I'm saying. Closure could have serious repercussions for energy security in the UK, while leaving Scotland as the world's only major oil producer without refining capacity. That is national security territory. It's got to be kept open. Maybe, here's a great one, maybe the UK government could step in and buy it and create a company, owned by shareholders, or the shareholders being the United Kingdom government. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? And then pull all the profits out into the UK, into Westminster. keep the place open, since the Scottish Government don't care about it. Both the UK and Scottish governments have described the closure as a commercial decision out with their control. Yes, I'm sure it is, but they can still step in and buy it. Petroineos said the closure of the refinery will not impact the future of the existing petrochemical plant at Grangemouth. But it will. Of course it will. It has to, by even definition. The Scottish Government spokesman, and here is where you've got it. The Scottish Government spokesman said the Grangemouth site and its workforce are crucial to Scotland's economy and our transition to net zero. Please tell me how you run a world without oil. It's impossible. People die. And I don't just mean, oh, they don't because I haven't got cars. I mean, they die. Without oil, we starve. As a world, we starve. People in hospital die because they don't have the materials, they don't have the medication. The problem with morons being put into positions of power is they don't understand anything because they're all uneducated, stupid people. Hands up if you think oil is only used for fuel. And when these people put their hands up, take them out and put them out of our misery. Fuel is only a tiny part of oil. The petrol engine was invented simply to use petrol. Petrol was a waste product. They didn't know what else to do with it. So they created the petrol engine in order to get rid of petrol. Most oil isn't used as fuel. But these idiots don't understand that. When you're in hospital and they try to put a tube down you, what do you think that tube's made out of? Oil. See these glasses? What are they made out of? Oil. See these clothes? What are they made out of? Oil. 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 The internet runs on oil. Everything runs on oil. And they want to get net zero and have no oil. Yeah. What we're going to do? Make everything out of wood? What a bunch of nonsense. Coming up. Someone needs to sit down with these people and show them all the things that oil is used for that isn't fuel. And show them that without oil, the world falls apart. They're sitting in a building that was built on oil, for example. They're sitting on chairs that was built on oil. They're making decisions based on everything built with oil. Everything. The world runs on oil. Very little of it is actually used as fuel. And to this day, it doesn't matter if you close down all the oil in Scotland. It just means that we're now having to import it from halfway across the world. Think of the waste and all the trouble in moving that oil over there, from over there to over here, when we've got it right on the doorstep. These people are dangerously stupid. And I don't just mean like your common old garden, that bloke down the pub stupid. I mean life-threateningly stupid. They need to be gone. They just need to go. Please, God, stop voting for morons. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and stop voting for morons. Bye.